Hello and welcome to day 20 of Myra's Crafting Playground Advent Calendar. I've got something special for you today. So starting in January, we will have our new catalogs out. So we have the new mini catalog, lots of good stuff in there. And then also between January 7th and February 28th, there is Celebration. So this year, with every $75 purchase, you get to choose an item out of this catalog for free to add to your order. So that is just super. I'm very excited about it. They also have a special if you want to join as a demonstrator, and please reach out to me if that's something that you're thinking about at all. We've got great benefits. There's a 20% discount. You get first dibs on all the good stuff. And speaking of all the good stuff, the special that I have for you today is something out of the new catalog. I thought that would just be fun. So today we're doing this card, which is called an M fold. So it folds up like this to fit into an envelope. I believe though it would need a 6x6 envelope. I should probably check that if I have an envelope right here. Whoops. Okay, so this it fits in for the height. So it really depends how high you put your triangles as to how big of an envelope you need. And if I'm hoping to reach, if you heard that timber, that was just everything falling down. So here is, here's one. Here's a regular size envelope. And it's just a bit wide there. So you could either adjust the size of your triangles down by 1/4 of an inch, both of them. So I'll tell you the measurements in a minute, but you can see that you would adjust these down by 1/4 of an inch, both of them, to make it fit into a A2 envelope. So those are the options that you have. I hope you like it. So it does just fold like that. And then when you do open it up all the way, I've just put a little daisy inside there as well. So let me show you some of the fun things on this card. Let me get it up close. Look at these cute little bumblebee embellishments. I've got 3 of them buzzing around here. They're just so cute. Then the center of the flowers, those are adhesive back. They're like pearls, but they're almost an antique, and they've got a bit of, AB shine to them. You know, they've got that opalescence to them. So that's really cute. This is one of the new ribbons. That's in Daffodil Delight. And then this stamp set that I've used, it is called Delightful Wishes. And let me just grab the stamp set. So this is the stamp set. It really doesn't look like much, but it's 2-step stamping. So there's a lot with the flowers in there. And then the actual dies that I used for this come in the bundle, and they are these ones here are the outlines, so they're done in Daffodil Delight. And then a layer up here, this one, and the 2 to the right are done in lemon lolly lemon. It's a paler yellow that we have. And then the leaves are also 2-step, so let me bring that up to the camera. And I did those in Garden Green and Old Olive, as well as the wishing is done in Garden Green and Old Olive. Then the paper, oh my goodness, that's new as well. And that paper, excuse me, everything's in arm's reach here, Floral Delight is the name of that paper, and I've used the gingham yellow that's in there, as well as this other design that's sort of similar to the set. Okay, so I don't want to make the video too long, so we're going to try and get through this, at least to make the base of the card, and I can give you an idea of how I decorated, but of course that's up to you if you just want to use the technique here of this kind of card. Okay, so that's, I just thought it was cheery. It's nice, it's yellow. Yellow always makes me think of spring. I'm very excited. So I hope you're enjoying this, because this is a true gift to you, because it's a sneak peek. So let's go down to the messy, oh my God, table. Is there even room to craft here? Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. Okay, so for this card, you're going to need a sheet of paper, and this is cut at 4 1/4 by 11. And then we're going to bring up my scoring tablet here, and we're going to score this. So I've got my measurements across the top here. So we're going to score this at 3 1/2, 7, and 9. Okay. So again, I have a 4 1/4 by 11 sheet scored at 3 1/2, 7, and 9. And then we're just gonna, let me change this a little bit towards me. We're just gonna fold that up and use our lovely bone folder to get the creases nice and firm. This is probably better if you use our thick paper. I haven't here, so it might get a little sloppy, but the thick paper would definitely give it a bit more oomph. So we've got this going on. Look at all these tools everywhere. Okay, so what I've done next is, let me get my little pieces of paper over here. So I have two, these are 3 1/4, no, these are 3 by 3, and the white triangles that I didn't cut are 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. This gingham piece is 1 3/4 by 4, and this one is 3 1/4 by 4. So let's get some of these put together. I don't want to speed through, but I definitely would like to get most of this together just so you can see what I did. And then, of course, if you were making this card with your stash, what I decorated wouldn't be critical for you, because you are going to make it your own. So I'm going to put some of these things together just to get our card on the go. That's the important thing. And yes, I'm using my typical tear tape, so I'm going to open this up and put this back here. And then I'm going to take this piece here and get that down on our front panel. So I almost should try and do this with, since I haven't cut my triangles, maybe I should try and cut them a bit smaller and see how it all works out. Alright, so there's sort of part of the basic card. right there, already kind of done. And okay, I'm going to stamp this just because I have this huge stamp block here that's kind of in the way. And my most used cards are birthdays, so I usually try and get a birthday greeting going just because that's what I use the most. Again, the discussion about cutting this first or stamping it first and then cutting it, but I always hope that I have all my pieces ready for you, which befuddles me how I always forget something. Alright, so now I can put this aside. I've got this done. Then I had my wishing you. I'm just going to get this down as well. Try and get all my little bits. You know, the less pieces that we have to work with, the easier it is on our table. And so I'm just going to add some glue here so I can get this down. This is my wishing. See how tiny this is? Oh my god, it's thin like, I was going to say spaghetti, but spaghetti's thick. What is it? Versmelly? Versmelly. That's not how you say it. Anyway, one of the thinner noodles. Alright, let's see if we can catch this. Go from the middle. Go for my H. Oh my god, I am shaking here. This is crazy. A bit late. I am tired. I'll give myself that much, but again, the glue dries clear, so I'm not too worried. Gone are the days when you'd have the big shiny patch of glue shining when you missed where you'd put your papers to connect. Alright, so we have our wishing. There we go. That was a little bit stressful there. So we've got the wishing and the you happy birthday. Then the leaves that come in this set, there is the back piece here, and actually I don't need the back piece, I need the front piece. So like I said, I did the leaf in garden green and the accent in old olive. So we're just going to put this together. I already put one together. So now we've got two leaves. And then here's one small one. Oh, and I'm missing a base of another one there. That's okay. I can add that after. That's not a problem. So we've got those. Then I've got some of my flowers already put together. And I left another set that I could do with you. So this thing about paper piercing, it's a lot of fun, but it does take patience and attention, and say that for sure. So I'm using tweezers because these pieces are so thin that my big pudgy fingers would certainly get in the way. So we'll just tack this down with a bit of glue. And I'm gonna, right where the heart or the lobster claw is, I'm gonna grab the center of the flower and get that on. Woohoo! First shot, that's good. Alright, so now I've got two of those. Then this one, the way the little flower looks at me, I think of it as a little gingerbread man, because it is still the season, but then this can fit in. So there's another one done. And this one, I'm looking for the two leaves that are together, and that's going to be my top point. I'll add this one on, and that'll be our flowers together. So if I had cut out my triangles, we would have been in good shape. But alas, I did not. All right. Did I not get, maybe I didn't get any glue on there. Put a little dab of glue on there. Get that last piece over. There we go. Okay, so there's our flowers ready. So we have all our embellishments ready. I have a little pre-tied piece of ribbon. I've got my bumblebees here. So they're all ready to go. Oh my goodness, aren't they cute? They're so tiny. It's crazy. But I love them. They're sweet. All right, so let's put this aside for a minute. And I will need to do my triangles. So what do you think? Should I trim everything down and go one size smaller just to see how it'll work with the envelope? I'm game. All right, so what did I say I needed? I needed 3 1/4. So I'm going to go 3 here. And then I'm going to trim my designer pieces down to 2 3/4. Okay, so we're going to go and trim it down a bit and see how that works. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so my white pieces are now 3 by 3 instead of 3 1/4, and these, the designer paper designer series paper, will now be at 2 3/4. Just so we can see if it gets in a regular envelope. I found this card design online, and it was in centimeters. I don't know about you, but sorry, I'm old school and never converted to centimeters. I still like my inches. It works better for me. And yet when I buy meat at a deli, I'm buying it by the gram. So some things flipped, but some things, I guess, did not. Isn't that funny? And then even when you're sewing and you have to buy fabric by the meter, I'm always converting it into feet in my head. Oh well, what can you do? My radio station is still playing Christmas tunes 24/7. I'm almost done with that. Looking forward to them swinging over to something else. And my kitchen reno won't be ready for Christmas, but it is getting closer. So I am disappointed but excited at the same time, because I may not be able to do Christmas here, but it's almost done. All right, so let's get two sides lined up, and the other two will work just fine. Oh my goodness, this is coming together. We're at 19 minutes. I really work hard to keep my videos down to 20 minutes. It's not going to happen tonight. but I know for myself that's sort of the end of my patience level, so I hope you stick it out with me, only because it's new product and it's springy and it's fresh. So, okay, so see if we get those triangles happening. I'm going to see if I can get my peaks at the fold. And then depending how low you want to go with this one, I try and line up the peak. So that's going to stick a bit ahead on top. But where's my envelope? Oops, something just fell down. And there you go. So that would work. But when you're, so see how that's peeking over a bit? Make sure and get that one down. So I do actually check the measurement, the height of the card, to make sure that it's going to fit. I just knew on the last one it wouldn't fit the width, but I did go for the height. So I'm going to glue my triangles. So the way I did that, so this seems to work here, and that works there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go behind the point. So I'm just going to go right there and make a little dot. So I know this is where my point has to fit. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So I'm going to make sure where it is, and then, because I don't know about you, but so I've got to cover this dot with my triangle. So that's my secret to getting it where I want it to go. And then my tape can't be any higher than halfway. Okay, so I'm going to put my tape about there. And we've got our tape down now. So I'm going to take that off the back. Make sure which point is at now. See my point? My little, I have a pen mark there. I'm going to make sure that that's where my card is, and make sure that that little mark is covered. Line up my points so it's equal. And that's, I probably should have turned that around so that that's kind of the top, but I didn't. So that's fine. And then here is where I put my greeting. So it fits just across there. Alright. So this is nice, this wishing, because you've got the skinny die, which gives you the word, and you've got this shadow die, which sort of gives you, you can make it really stand out nicely. So I'm going to put it as high as I can without it going off the diamond. And then my You a Happy Birthday, You Happy Birthday. I'm just going to put some dimensionals there. I'm using the mini ones here. And I will use 4 of them. Just to grab that. Okay. And I just pop that underneath the wishing. way it can overlap a little bit since it's popped, and it's not too bad. Okay, and then now this one. Okay, so that's my bottom, and I have to go a bit lower than my points with my tape, so we'll go a little bit lower. And if you do go too high, don't forget your embossing buddy is your buddy, and it'll take the sticky off in case you go too high. So I'm going to put my tape here. Check twice. What is that? Measure twice, cut once. So I'm going to put that there. And let's see. Got 1, 2, 3 stripes there. There, that's about right. Okay, and we're clear. We're clear. There's no tape on the back, so that's good. All right, and then it just becomes a question of lining up your flowers and putting them on, or however it is that you want to decorate the 2 triangles, so that when it sits, you have your greeting and your focal point. So, I don't know if that's, if you want me to keep going or not, but that's pretty much where we're at. So I just took my daisies. All right, I'm gonna speed up now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I did. So I took my daisies. I popped up all my flowers essentially, and the reason I did that was so that I could fit my leaves behind them with ease. And that just, you know, because then when you go to do the leaves, you're not trying to jimmy it underneath one of the flowers if it's totally glued down. Okay, so, all right, so we're just going to go ahead, and I'm just going to put my 2 leaves, 2 big flowers in the center. This is how I did mine. Again, depending what you're using, you could choose something different or line it a different way. You do you, don't worry. And I put this one behind. And then my other flower, I pop that down here on top. And I put these 2 little guys just sort of off to, I'm going to arrange it a bit different because my size is a little bit different, but I'll pop them there. Then, yes, my leaves, I just, okay, I'm short a leaf, and I'm not going to stress anybody with more paper cutting or anything, so I'm just going to pop in my leaves, the leaves that I have. Okay, and then we're just going to pop this other one. Well, we're not going to pop it. I'm gluing it down. Don't kid yourself. I'm going to pop this one over here somewhere. Did I put glue all the way to the top? No, I did not. Okay. All right. Then I will quickly add my... Okay, I'm in overdrive here, people. I'm in overdrive. All right, so we're going to get the smallest pearl centers on the small flowers. Okay, there's 2 of each, so let's just go the medium size for the medium flowers. I just like the sheen that these add. Oh my god, they are just gorgeous. And then the big ones for the big flowers. Now maybe you don't even like the centers. Maybe you like them just the way they are, and that's okay too. You know, I just like to have that. I like bling. All right, and then I'm going to add my little bow, like a bouquet of flowers that somebody's given me. That's what I was thinking when I thought, oh, I want to use this ribbon. So, and I'm just going to stick that there. And then I'm going to add my bees. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one down here and one at the very top there. And these little guys, oh my goodness, look at them. They are just gorgeous. Tiny, tiny, tiny. They fly right out of your fingers. But we're going to get there. Alright. And honestly, I've just got a dab of glue going on here. That's all I'm putting them on with. I'm sure the glue dots would be a good choice as well. Okay, so I've got that. Look at that. Now, I didn't stamp the inside. That was the only thing left to do, and that is a two-step stamp. So I used the lighter color on the bottom and then the darker color on top, because if you did the darker color on the bottom, you wouldn't see the lighter one showing all the outlines. So the lighter one on the bottom, and then I used the darker color, and I used the darker color being Daffodil Delight, and the lighter color is the Lemon Lolly. Okay, and there you have it. Well, 32 minutes. Sorry to keep you so late, so close to Christmas, but it's a Friday night and you're probably out partying anyway. So I hope you catch up and enjoy the video, and I'll have more surprise tomorrow. Have a great day.